मधुसूदन घनश्याम सत्य साई सुंदर श्याम। अनुपम सुंदर नंद किशोरा,
अनुपम सुंदर नंद किशोरा,
अनुपम सुंदर नंद किशोरा,
अनुपम सुंदर नंद किशोरा,
वृंदावन नटवर सुंदर
offering our collective salutations at the divine feet of Bhagwan Sri Sathya Sai Baba and Sadguru Sri Madhusudan Sai. Respected elders, brothers, sisters, staff, students, and everyone watching us live from around the world, we wish you all a very, very happy and a blissful New Year. What a joy indeed to gather here as one family on this very first day of the year, a year which will be filled with endless possibilities, with hope, with opportunities, so that together we may grow in love, faith, and service. Today is not just about celebrating the arrival of a new year, it's about reflecting as well on the year that has just gone by and envisioning how we can make this world a little brighter, a little kinder, and a little more inclusive in the year ahead. And more importantly, how is it that we can start with each one of us? How is it that we can open our hearts, embrace everyone and everything, and let go and let God? So this gathering is indeed a reminder yet again of the profound truth that all our spiritual journeys are interconnected. When we extend love to one another and expand the circle of care and the circle of love, we will not only transform their lives, but our very own too. As we move forward in this new year, let us commit not only to helping one another, but to inspiring others to do the same. Like it is said, a single act of love, compassion, and kindness has the power to create a ripple effect. So together, let us uplift each other and everyone in the society, every single person in need, so that we can create a world that will truly reflect the divine love that resides in each and every one of us. And this year is also incredibly special for devotees of Bhagwan Baba, as it marks the 100th birthday of Bhagwan on this realm. So it is not just a time to reflect on his legacy, his life, but to deeply be inspired by the teachings and the messages that he left behind for all of us. So as we begin today, this new day, this new year, let us all take a moment and reflect, and let us center ourselves in gratitude for the gift of this moment, this togetherness, and for the tremendous blessing, the biggest gift ever in our lives, Sadguru Sri Madhusudan Sai. We will commence this morning's proceedings with a Vedic invocation by our girl students, and they will chant verses from the Narayana Upanishad.
नारायणा
While we are at the cusp of embracing 2025 with a renewed vigor, new aspirations, and convictions, let the rewarding memories of 2024 be the memento of compassionate servitude in action. Here's a glimpse of love in action. May we have the video, please?
It's a new year, brings new beginnings, new hopes, new aspirations, new resolutions. Of all the resolutions that we can make, let us resolve to help more people this year in more ways, as much as possible. Finance should not be the reason why one access to healthcare or does not get access. Money cannot be the reason why one gets to live or gets to die. That cannot be the reason in this world. And that is the conviction with which we work. If we come together, we can solve most of the problems of the world. And that is what this institution stands for, a collaborative way of solving problems. It is possible to realize this great vision that all should be happy, all should be healthy. It does not happen by simply doing prayers. It happens when we get into action, when we try to do whatever we can do in our own capacity and collaboratively together as a society.
This morning, Sadhguru visited the Ganesha temple as he emerged from Anandam to offer prayers to Lord Ganesha, the remover of obstacles, to bless the new year, the new beginning with success and wisdom. Thereafter, he proceeded to the Bhumi Puja of the new boys' hostel for the medical college students. The new hostel will be constructed opposite the Premamrutham building. With all modern amenities, the hostel will have 5 floors with a total built-up area of 26,500 square feet. So today, we have hundreds of boys and girls enrolled in various courses such as MBBS, nursing, and allied health sciences. So besides free education, all students are provided with comfortable accommodation, food, in fact, anything required by a student from textbooks to a laptop is also being provided at no charge. On that note, may we please invite our Chancellor, Shri B.N. Narasimhamurthy Sir, to address all of us this auspicious and blessed New Year morning.
Most beloved Swami, brothers and sisters, very dear students, boys and girls. The video that we watched is compassion in action. In the words of Sadhguru, it is actionable compassion. That is the way we grow. That is the way we become divine. That is the way we ascend to the kingdom of heaven. The same message was given by the Master who walked the earth 2,200 years ago, Lord Jesus Christ. If you desire to follow me, if you desire to come with me, you have to deny yourself, take up your cross, and follow me. That is the message. What does it mean? If you want to make spiritual progress, some sacrifice in the material world is a must. Na karmana, na prajaya, dhanena, tyage naike amrutattva manushahu. It is the echo of this Upanishadic statement which we find in the words of Lord Jesus Christ. Not by money, not by actions, not by progeny you attain immortality. Only by sacrifice you attain immortality. There is a very poignant anecdote in the life of the last page of Jesus Christ. Last hours of Jesus Christ, he was condemned to be crucified. And he was flogged. A crown of thorns was placed on his head. Because he sacrificed everything in the world, he attained the kingdom of heaven and helped many more. Until now, many thousands to attain the kingdom of heaven. Finally, the final part of the journey for crucifixion was going up the hill of Golgotha, and there was the cross which had to carry the cross. It is not that he gave the message, if you desire to come with me, you have to deny yourself, take up the cross and follow me. He showed it. He had to carry the cross. And he was very feeble by that time because he had not eaten for at least 24 hours. And he was abused, ill-treated. A crowd which was organized by the priests of that time. In fact, we can say how the politics of religion crucifies the religion. The greatest example is Jesus Christ. Religion is love, power of love, whereas politics of religion is love of power. The love of power crucifies the power of love and thereby inspires millions of people to sacrifice. That is the message. And he had to carry his cross. It was quite heavy. He was dragging it. The part of the cross was hooked to his shoulder and he was dragging it. And there was blood. And he could not carry the cross. At some point of time, he fell down. And there was nobody to help. Nobody to help. He had to himself get up, take the cross and walk. Imagine that very poignant thing for the Son of God. Because he claimed the last question that was asked to him when he was being tried was, "Are you the Son of God?" He said, "Yes, I am the Son of God." That's why he was crucified, because he claimed that he was the Son of God. That is what Caiaphas, the priest of the temple, the Jerusalem temple wanted. He said it, and crucifixion was there. And then it happened, one of the soldiers was walking with Jesus Christ up the hill, took some pity on Jesus. And he looked around, he saw a very burly person in the crowd. To help Jesus, he called him, "Hey, what's your name?" "Simon, you come forth, carry the cross." That Simon of Cyrene he felt humiliated. But as he saw Jesus, there was some change of heart in him. He thought he should help. And he had come there to see this, because many people had gathered out of curiosity. Can you imagine? Most of the people had gathered to see the crucifixion, to see a man on the cross dying. They had gathered. That's the kind of human beings sometimes it can be when there are no spiritual moorings. And this burly Simon, he took up the cross along with Jesus and he walked. Only for half an hour we see him in the Bible, and today he has become immortal and he ascended to the heaven only because of his sacrifice. He was the first to carry the cross of Jesus. And after that, many have carried this cross, and that is the way for mortals to become immortal. Many people these days, are sending messages saying that 2025 is a mathematical wonder. It has definitely, no doubt, mathematical significance. It is the sum total of the only number which is the sum total of the cubes of all the single digits from 1 to 9. It's something. And it is the product of squares of two numbers, 9 squared into 5 squared. It is the sum of the squares of three numbers, yes. But these are mathematically important, but there is something philosophically and spiritually important in another mathematical truth. The truth is 2025 is the square. And the previous square, yesterday Sadhguru mentioned in the girls' campus, came in 1936. And the next will come in 2116. Assuming that we live for around 80 to 90 years on this earth, none of us there when the previous square was there, none of will be there when the next square comes in 2116, except only one, that is Sadhguru Madhusudan Sai among us. Therefore, we should know that we are mortals. We are not going to be here forever. How do we escape mortality? Martyaha amruto bhavati, says the Upanishad. The mortal becomes the immortal. Atra Brahma samushnute. Here he experiences God, here on earth. Now, Atra. He experiences God. How does it happen? It just happens when you sacrifice, and by doing nothing else, you can really attain the grace of God, because this is not the time for arthas and artharthis. This is not the time. Sathya Sai Baba lived on the earth for 86 years, and people went and prayed to him for everything. Money, materials, children, promotions, wins in the elections, what not. That was the time. And Sadhguru's life, when we look at Sadhguru's life, now he is carrying the burden of the cross of Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. We have to understand. Every divine master carries a cross. It's not only Jesus Christ. Every divine master carries the cross of the sorrows of mankind. That is what he is carrying. Shall we become one like Simon of Cyrene, or like a Peter, or many disciples who ran away in his last moments? There were none of them except only James and his mother Mary. 3 Marys were there. Mary Magdalena, Mary the mother, and the other Mary, sister of Lazarus, who was resurrected by Jesus Christ. So what we should become? We have to help the master to carry the cross. This is a different kind of cross. And here I would like to remember many of my brothers and sisters whom we have met in India, abroad, many countries, who are bearing the burden of the cross that Sadhguru carries today. I see them, many of them here. How much sacrifice. If you want to progress spiritually, you have to sacrifice materially. Hundreds of my brothers and sisters in India, out of India, many countries have proved it. Many countries, they have proved it. When Sadhguru announces a project, it is not a small project. And Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba announced only one project at a time. I have watched this. But Sadhguru keeps on announcing projects. This morning, a new medical hostel building, the Shiva has to come up, and the centenary building in the name of Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai has to come up, and many other projects are already happening. So my first gratitude on this day is those brothers and sisters who have sacrificed a lot and who are helping Sadhguru to carry the burden of the cross of the misery of mankind. After all, what does Sadhguru want for himself? In fact, there was, at some point of time, he said, I am a Jivan Mukta. Nothing to achieve. I've already achieved. But I am here to redeem all of you. Therefore, if you want to follow me, if you desire to come with me, deny yourself, take up the cross, and follow me. With these words, I conclude. That is the message for the new year. Young and old, poor and rich, illiterate or scholarly, for everybody there is only one way for ascension. There is only one way for getting into the heaven, kingdom of heaven. There is only one way to attain immortality. Tyage amrutatvam anusuhu. These words I conclude and pray to Sadhguru for his divine New Year message. Thank you very much. Sairam to you.
This morning, as the sun rose in the eastern sky, piercing through the darkness and melting the mist and making everything visible again. I was reminded of this verse from Ishavasyopanishad, where the Rishi prays to the sun god. Hiranmayena patrena sastyetsat pihitam mukham tattvam pushana apavrunu satya dharmaya drishtaye. As if in a golden vessel, represented symbolically by the sun, the truth is hidden, the truth of my own divinity, and the lid of ignorance of darkness has been placed upon it. May Lord unfasten that lid of ignorance and reveal the truth to me today by considering that I have lived a life of truth and dharma, Sathya and dharma. Therefore, may I be deserving of that benevolence of the Lord, and may the truth be revealed to me. This is the prayer of the Rishi. Every dawn reminds us of this great truth, that the wisdom of our own self, the knowledge of our own self, is the only way to get rid of the darkness of ignorance of one's individuality, one's personality, which binds us to our limitedness and does not allow us to enjoy our infinity. And every time the sun rises, every day, it is simply a reminder of what we must pray, what we must seek, what we must ask for. And on a New Year day like this, when the whole world celebrates a new beginning, the sunrise has a much more significant and deeper meaning, where we can pray that for the whole year, may we seek the truth that is hidden within us, and may we realize that truth by the grace of the divine and by our sincere efforts, so that we may live our lives in accordance with our divinity. The Upanishads say, Satyam vada, dharmam chara. Bhagavan used to tell it in a lighter note or sometimes in a very serious note, that instead of following Satyam vada, which is to speak truth, and dharmam chara, which is to follow dharma, people are following Satyam vadha, which is to kill the truth, and dharmam kshara, which is to destroy dharma. Unfortunate are the ways of the worldly people, because they only seek temporary instant gratification and not the permanent joy of the self. And therefore they do not follow the dictums of our Upanishads. However, this year, as it also marks the 100th birth anniversary, and which will be dotted with several celebrations for several days, may we ask ourselves, what is that we seek in this world? Especially after having known Bhagavan, after having known the Upanishads, after having known the wisdom of our Vedas, what is that we must resolve on this New Year day? And according to me, the best resolution we can make is to live in accordance with our divinity, which was represented and symbolized by Bhagavan. What does a guru seek in return from the disciple for all that he or she does? Simply obedience to his words and sincere efforts to realize the truth of his wisdom. Nothing more, nothing less. We as disciples may interpret it in our own way because of our limited comprehension. But what the Guru wants is to understand that ultimate reality, that you are divine, and live accordingly. Satya is a very deep word. It is not just the fact as we see. I am a man or a woman, a girl or a boy, rich or poor. That's simply a fact. That is not Satyam. Nijam it is called. It is what it is, the fact. But the Satya is, or the truth that we are talking about, is far deeper than that. The truth is not easy to grasp, because it requires certain amount of sadhana and sincere seeking to realize that truth. And that comes only to those who are Shraddhavan. Shraddhavan labhate jnanam, it says. Those who are very sincere in their approach, in their efforts, they alone attain wisdom, wisdom of the truth. And the truth that everything and everyone is divine. That truth is something that we must strive for this year. That is my calling. And when we realize that truth, that we are divine, what should be our way of life? How should we behave? How should we deal with each other? Or for that matter, with anything? We will do it in a divine way only, because there is no other way. When I know I am divine, I will simply do everything that is divine. So to me, Satyam Vada is be divine. And Dharmam Chara is to do divine. So the mantra for this year is be divine, do divine. All the time remind yourself that we are here to just do these two things. Be divine. It means every time a thought, a word, or an action deviates from the idea of divinity, which is contaminated by our own selfishness, individuality, or personality, make efforts, sincere efforts to correct that then and there. Do not go onto the wrong road for too long. For taking a U-turn and returning would be a waste of time and energy. Then and there, give up the pursuit of selfishness and think how God would think, how divine would think. So be divine and do divine. When you are completely absorbed in this idea that you are nothing but divinity, every thought, word, and action that ensues thereafter would be divine in nature. There is no other way. How you would think, how would you speak, how would you do anything would be how God would think, speak, and do. So this idea to knowing the truth that I am divine and following the truth that I am divine is the only way to offer our true gratitude to the Master. There is no other way. And this should be our effort. On birthdays, generally we give gifts to the person who has his birthday. That's a tradition. And what gift can you give? 11 months of sincere being divine and doing divine would be the gift that you can give on November 23rd. So this year is all about taking this message very seriously. And yes, there will be difficulties, challenges. There will be good days and bad days. There will be divine days and not so divine days. But that's all right as long as we are sincerely putting efforts to seek that. If we don't put efforts and expect that things will fall into our hands without any efforts, I think we would be doing injustice to the opportunity of having learned all the good things in the presence of the Master. Somebody asked at some point in time, how can I help you, Swami? And the answer was, become me. The only way you can help me is to become me. Because anything less than me would not be perfect. And you can't do perfect work with imperfect instruments. The flaws of the instrument would also reflect in the work of the Master. So you need both. So the only way to help me is to become me. And now you have to sit and understand what that becoming me is all about. It's all about becoming absolutely selfless, absolutely divine. We have janmas of vasanas, many lifetimes of our habits, our tendencies which have become hardened in our personalities. And that is what the master chipset works on, sculpts us. And that is when we should be willing as surrendered stones in the hands of the sculptor. That stone which is willing becomes the idol of God, becomes another God. And which is unwilling remains a piece of stone after all. So sincere effort is to surrender our mind to God. First effort on spiritual path is to surrender our mind. This mind which is habituated of doing all things that are selfish and self-centered, that thinks of itself before everything else. A mind that is unwilling to obey the Master or unwilling to surrender. Such a mind has to be first of all trained and tamed to start the spiritual journey. When you start a car, you check whether fuel is there, tires are having enough air, everything is okay, and then only you start on the journey. Like that, this mind is the reason why we could reach God or we may not reach God. Mana eva manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayo, it is said. Mind is the reason why one attains freedom or one is bound. Nothing else. And what is mind? It is just the collection of all our ideas, our thoughts, our emotions, our memories, our understandings. All that collected together is simply the mind. Now, if several lifetimes of certain way of living has created the mind that we are possessing now, and if it is not in tune with the divine, then it needs a lot of effort to set it right. That sincere effort we must make. And you know what mind thrives on? Mind is like fire. It has desires of its own. And its desires are self-centric only, mostly. A bad mind is like that. And the more you feed the fire with fuel, the more it burns, the more it demands. So every time you fulfill a lower desire or a selfish desire, it gets stronger, it doesn't diminish. It only gets stronger every time. So the only way is not to fulfill such things which the mind demands, which are not in divine accordance. So every time we make an effort to deny the mind of its desires which are not divine, we are able to take charge of our personality, our character. We are able to build some sense of control over our own destinies. And that is the first effort on the spiritual path. That is why when he said, you can become divine here and now. How? When yada sarve pramuchyante kama yasya hridishritaha atamartyo amruto bhavati atra brahman samushnute. This is what he was telling from Kathopanishad. That is the essence and the conclusion of Kathopanishad. When Yamadharmaraja tells the young seeker Nachiketa, the day all your desires are done, there is no more desire left in your heart, then and there you will become divine. You will realize the self. What kind of desire? Yama does not say don't eat because when you are hungry, or don't wear clothes when you are cold, or don't have a house or a family. No, not those desires. Desires that are greedy, desires that are selfish. Not just survival, but more than that. Those desires are the ones which you must discriminate and detach from. That effort everybody has to put. If you put that effort, you will see the progress accelerates from there. So being divine is to think of others before oneself, which a selfish mind would not allow. It always thinks of itself before others. So what you have to do to start being divine? Reverse the way the mind works. Think of others before yourself. When you think of others before yourself, you are thinking in a divine way. That is the first practical step to begin with. You have so many things, all have to share. You must be willing to share first. If there is a sacrifice to be made for the welfare of whichever group you are in, you must be the first to grab that opportunity to make that sacrifice. If there is something which is lacking, not enough, you should be the first to willing to give it up so that somebody else can have it. So putting yourself last, that is what joy, Jesus first, others next, yourself last. Putting yourself at the end and placing everybody before you, that is the beginning of our spiritual journey. That is the beginning of being divine. It could be in a family, be your husband, wife, kids, or your other members, could be your friends, could be your community, could be your office, colleagues, could be in your people in your satsang, anybody. Every time you think of others before yourself, you are able to tame the mind, train the mind to think in a divine way. And every time you do that, the mind becomes stronger at it, better at it, by practice. Like a muscle that is used often. Right-handed people have better control over their right hand. And left-handed people have more strength in their left hand because they've used this more than that. It's as simple as that. So every time you use this idea, that you think of others before yourself, your mind is becoming more divine. It's getting purified. And that is the beginning of your journey. When mind starts thinking in a divine way, all actions follow the mind only. All actions are consequential to whatever the mind is like. So a pure mind will only be engaging in pure actions. Selfless mind will always be engaging in selfless actions. There is no other way. The source of all actions is in the mind. And so it is important that we train the mind. And what is the training of the mind? I am not asking you to read up all the scriptures, by heart everything. All that may be a part of your syllabus, you must do it for the sake of it. Or out of your curiosity or out of just to gain knowledge. But that's not going to help. Kabir Das ji says, Poti padi padi, jagmuwa pandit bhayana koi, dhai akshar prem ka padhe so pandit hoi. The whole world is interested in mugging up all kinds of scriptures and prove their scholastic capabilities in front of the world. But they have never attained the truth. But the one who has understood these 2.5 letters in Hindi, Prem, or 4-letter love, such a person has understood the essence of all the scriptures. He or she does not need any more reading or learning because they have learned the essence of everything. This love is that which thinks of others before itself. That love is what makes our mind divine, which is the essence of everything. But it takes effort. Mind you, it's not easy to train the mind to make it think selfless all the time because it worries about its own existence, its own security, its own safety, or its own future. It always thinks of itself. But if you can borrow something from my life, borrow this one thing, that I have only thought about others before myself, and I have never faced any situation where I had to regret this decision. Every time there was a need for somebody, always whatever we had went for their need, not for us. And never ever I was ever attached to any of these things because I believed that Bhagavan is there, God is there, Brahman is there, and we are all puppets in that great divine play. And the puppeteer is sitting there and making us all dance and sing. So we surrender to that will and it will look after itself. It will look after all of us. And there is enough for everybody. God has enough for all. So we should not worry, we should not fear. This is a training. Mind does not learn. It has to be taught. It doesn't come to it on its own. So don't assume just because you are sitting in this ashram, coming to satsang every other day, and somehow hanging around this place, somehow your mind will become pure and you will become divine. No, it's not going to happen. At least if I was a little more considerate and a nicer guru, I would have probably told a sweet lie. But on a New Year day, I better not tell lie when I say Satyam Vada. You have to put your efforts. Presence is there. Divine grace is there. But to utilize that grace, your efforts are to be put. Simply expecting Guru to put his hand on your head and you attain self-realization, all that is not going to happen. Many times I go around darshan also, people pull my hand and put it on their head. And they assume that they have been blessed. Or I'm walking, simply they put their head at my feet and assume that they have received the blessing. No, they may feel blessed, but I do not think I have blessed. It has to come from me, from within. And there are people who do not ask, and hand stretches by itself to reach out to them. Why? Because there is some sincere yearning over there which draws the attention of the Master. That's true for everyone, anywhere. So your sincerity is directly proportional to your spiritual progress. And what is your sincerity? To always put others before yourself. Always try to think what can others get or what good I can do to others before I think of myself. And you will see miracles happen at every step. You will see supernatural things happen in every step. Surprises at every turn. Because God is waiting there to look after you. Why? Because you have taken care of others and not bothered about yourself. It is now God's responsibility to look after you. And let me tell you, when I was able to look after myself, I was not able to look after myself so well. When God is looking after me, He is looking after me much better. I have no complaints. And if you also surrender and let go and allow God to take over, you will live a much better life, much happier life, much easier life. A life which is very light, very free. And allow yourself to do that. The only person or only thing that will come in the way of you doing that is your own mind, which is full of its ideas, personality traits, its vasanas, samskaras of several lifetimes. That is the only thing that will come in its way. So every time mind raises a question or a doubt and suspects you for whatever you're trying to do, learn to have a conversation and tell the mind. Keep quiet. You do not know. You only know one side of the story. You haven't seen the amazing grace of God, what God can do. Allow me to this time follow this path. For several lifetimes, I have only followed your whims and fancies. For this lifetime, for this year, for this moment, let me follow my heart, which says, simply give up this pursuit of trying to yoga kshema, self-preservation, whatever protection. Give up this idea. Allow yourself to surrender to the divine and see what happens. And by going by the experiences of so many great ones, our scriptures are replete with stories of such surrendered devotees. I'm dead sure that none of us will face any regrets later, because we would be looked after much better by the divine. That surrender, that ability to put others before yourself is being divine. What is doing divine? Whatever action that follows this idea. If you have to share, share. If you have to sacrifice, sacrifice. If you have to give up something, give up that. If you do anything that is to be done because you are being divine, just fearlessly, selflessly do it. That is the only way we can celebrate the life and legacy of Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. 10 or maybe more, 2011 is when the first encounter I had, when he demanded everything of me, leaving nothing for myself. I did not understand in the beginning. When he said, I don't want anything, I just want you. I thought you means, okay, be available 3 hours a day to do some service activities, the rest of the day is for yourself. In fact, one of the students who was my junior in the college days, he came. And that time Bhagavan was speaking, and Bhagavan was naturally answering a lot of questions of all those doubting Thomases who used to come in plenty, because they wanted to test and verify whether all this is true or some kind of imaginary thing. So he asked, all right, why is it that you should choose him and not me for doing what you have got to do? What's so special? And the answer was very practical and simple. The answer was, he does my work all day, and in between, some time when he gets, he does his work. You do your work all day, and in between, if you get some time, you do my work. That is why I won't choose you, I would choose him, he said. It's quite practical, isn't it? We are here to do God's work all day, and if we find time in between, our personal requirements are there, we'll attend to it. If no time is there, we will skip that. But generally how we work, we do all day our work for our own selfish sake. And here then there we find a few moments we want to spend it for God and feel good that we are living a life for God. Not true. As if God is the smartest thing on the planet. You can't outsmart God. He knows your intentions. He knows what's going on inside of you, not the outside. No exhibitionism, no show, no pretensions would work in front of God. Because He knows your inside. He is the inside. But another person had asked, how do you know everybody is everything? He said, because I am everybody's everything. I am everything. So I know everything. There is no other way. So the divine knows what's going on inside us. Whatever show we put up on the outside, it does not impress the divine. And He will test us to check whether we are truly sincere in our faith and surrender. He won't just hand it over to us like that. And so this is something that is not impossible to do. It is possible for every one of us. Maybe a little more difficult for some, a little easy for a few others, based on whatever efforts we have put in the previous lifetimes and in this lifetime so far. But it is doable. Divinity is doable. It is not impossible. That is something that I want to convey again and again, even more emphatically, because every passing year we are getting closer to our graves. And we are left with lesser time than what we had last year. And if we are not progressing enough, we are surely wasting our time. Anything that is being done in this world which does not take us to God is a waste of time, isn't it? So why should we do that? And what does take us to God? Thinking of others before ourselves is the first step. That starts taking us towards God. And then the next and the next. and the road reveals itself as you keep walking. So what can we pray on this very important occasion, especially considering that this year is also a very important year? And as he said, if we were born 100 years before or 200 years before, it wouldn't be the same as being here today and now. This opportunity is given to us. We have to make the best use of this opportunity. And the best use is to be divine. And then do divine and live a whole life of divinity. That is the best use of the opportunity. Anything less than that, few days I would like to live like divine, half a day I will live like divine, the other half my own self. It is not the best use of the opportunity. That's all I can say. So does it mean a future where you have no joy, no comforts, no conveniences? Not at all. Everything and anything that you need, you will get it. That you desire, you may not get it. That's the only thing God does. He makes sure that you get what you need, truly need. What need? That helps you grow spiritually. It means your body has to be intact. Yes, your food, your medicine, your clothing, your shelter, whatever requirements will be provided. Your growth intellectually, emotionally, socially will be looked after. As long as it is not turning into a poisonous ambition, it will be looked after. Don't worry. And above all, your spiritual evolution will be taken care of. That's all God wants, nothing else. And so, let us make a sincere effort this year. I'm sure everybody is making efforts, a little more effort than that. If we had made enough effort, we would be all divine here. I won't be sitting on this side of the stage and you won't be sitting on the other side. But still it has not happened. That is why there is something like this. That can be changed this year. It's a very blessed year, and it just depends on us how we use these blessings. So allow yourself to surrender yourself. Don't come in the way of your own surrender. At this moment, after this discourse, I'm sure many of you would resolve. All those who have resolved that we must lose weight and gain wealth and things like that, that is a different resolution that may or may not sustain after a week. But at least after this inspiring discourse, you think, no, today onwards, I'll live for others. I'll think of others before myself. Don't break the resolution by the time you reach your rooms. Looking at your phones or talking to somebody and worrying about everything. Don't break that resolution. That's all I'm trying to say. Keep at it. Work it. And you will see miracles happen at every step. And it's amazing to be looked after by the divine. Let me tell you, it is the most amazing thing. Otherwise, why would Navakoti Narayana like Purandar Dasa would give up everything and still be joyful begging food on the streets and singing the glory of God? What must be that joy like? There has to be some madness in it. It must be more intoxicating than all the worldly things. Otherwise, why would somebody give up the world for the sake of that joy, which looks like a life of penury and beggary and deprival? No. It is something more divine, more enjoyable, more blissful than what it is otherwise. And I am a living proof. I can say it in any number of words, any number of times, that I am enjoying my life more because I simply do things for others. And in return, God looks after us. God looks after us very well. But it takes a while. It takes a while. I have had my own troubles as well to deal with these situations. When you felt that you are losing control and everything is slipping out of your grip like a fistful of sand, and you feel scared, you feel unnerved, you feel unprotected, and you feel frightened. These can happen to us also. But those are the times when we have to go back and listen to this discourse and talk to the people who are walking this path and learn from their experiences that yes, it is a ride, it is a roller coaster ride, but it ultimately takes us to our destination. And enjoy the ride as it comes and goes. And this is the kind of life I think everybody should live. Whoever you are, a student, a staff, a teacher, a devotee, a follower, a guest, everybody becomes a little more selfless this year, more divine this year. I think we have done our honoring of the Master. Otherwise, celebrations are empty. Festivals are meaningless. All these occasions are fruitless. If we have not changed from inside, and everybody is changing, I see that. But there is a possibility that ek pag aage, do pag piche, you keep singing. It can happen to us. But this new year, let us be very firm-footed. We will only move forward, no backward going. If needed, we'll take a pause, stand, wait to gain enough strength and courage, but still we will walk forward, we will not go behind. Let that be our way of life. Let this new year bring prosperity, peace, happiness, harmony to the whole world. But it is not achievable just by prayers. It can be done only through sacrifice. Tyage naike amrutatva manashu. By sacrifice alone, one is able to attain immortality. And what is the sacrifice we must make? This idea of mind that comes in the way of our selflessness. That is to be sacrificed. And retain the rest of the mind. Mind is needed to do our work in this world. But a good mind is needed, a pure mind is needed, a selfless mind is needed. Then we have no fears. That kind of mind is possible to develop if we are at it, if we are sincere, and if we are committed to our own spiritual upliftment. And being divine, once more I repeat, is about placing others before oneself, whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. Always thinking of others before oneself is the beginning of being divine. And everything that follows after that is doing divine. Once a boy asked Bhagavan, do you speak truth always? Because you speak truth. Do you follow dharma always, or are there situations where you have to deviate? Bhagavan replied, I don't speak truth, I don't follow dharma. Whatever I speak is truth, whatever I do is dharma. Because it is born out of pure love. Sometimes a doctor is there in the emergency and the patient is almost gone and cannot recover. But what do you want to tell the patient who is still hoping something? You tell, don't worry, God is there, miracles do happen, things can get better. Is the doctor lying? Is the doctor telling lies to the patient? Maybe medically, yes. But spiritually, no. He is doing dharma. That kind of dharma Bhagavan did for so many people. And some people misunderstood that and quoted and misquoted him, saying that he told like this, didn't happen. He did this and it was not right. Because their yardsticks were very worldly, very, very puny, very limited to measure his expanse of divinity, his dharma and his satya. So, having come across somebody like this in our life, having crossed him in the midstream as he always quotes, can we afford to be just our lazy, old, selfish selves and still celebrate birthday with what face? With what face should we go and celebrate the birthday? If we haven't made any efforts to be like him, what should I think of such a person who pretends to be a devotee then? It's not a devotion at all. So dancing, singing, garlanding, and making a noise about birthdays and speeches and whatever, it's not the real way of celebrating. He is very happy when quietly, silently in our own hearts, we are truly, truly being his disciples by following his footsteps of Satya and Dharma. And both are, as I said, born in pure heart, pure love. If you have pure love for God, Satya, Dharma are your second nature. You don't have to make efforts. Like him, whatever you speak is Satya, whatever you do is Dharma then. Because everything is motivated from that pure love. So that is the method. Being divine is to being pure, is being loving, is being selfless, is putting others before yourself, and doing divine is doing everything in your capacity to make everyone's lives better, to help everyone reach God faster. And I'm sure this can be done here. As I always say, if it is not us, then who? If it is not here, then where? If it is not now, then when? And if it is not this way, then in which way? This is our opportunity. Let us seize it. Let us do our very best. And you have 11 good months to go, little less than 11 months because 23rd November. And if you can present yourselves as the best gift to God, saying, in your footsteps I have walked, I have made my sincere efforts. I haven't been lacking in my at least sincerity. Even if I did not succeed, at least I have the satisfaction that I have did my very best to walk in your footsteps. Then I think we should come back and celebrate the birthday in the truest sense. And this is what I appeal to all the people who are here in the hall, who are watching it live, who are there around the world, who would see it again. Please remind yourself, the best gift to Swami is you yourself. And what kind of you? You who is like Swami, alike. You are equal to Swami because you have become pure in your heart. And whatever you do is divine. Whatever you think is divine. Whatever you say is divine. Whatever you feel is divine. That is the best gift that we can offer. Let us work towards making ourselves the best gift for God on this special new year. May Bhagwan's blessings, may all Guru's blessings, may all God's blessings be upon all the sincere seekers. May we reach our destination of being divine and doing divine. May this year bring such happy tidings to all the people around the world. May the world be a better place for everyone this year because of our sincere efforts and by the grace of Bhagwan. With these words of blessings, I conclude. And this evening, I will come again. And there is a dance recital by our students who have just returned from Chennai after all the Margali festival. And I believe that they have been appreciated for their efforts to present their programs in Chennai. It was the very first experience, but I think it was well received by the people, audiences there, the sabhas there. So I want to congratulate them. I'm looking forward to seeing that this evening. But till then, go back, keep repeating to yourself. What is the mantra for this year? Be divine, do divine. In everything, be divine and do divine. Now it's up to you. I have given what I had to give. Now it's up to you to follow this. But blessings are always there. Blessings are never lacking. How much we utilize depends on our efforts. To put sincere efforts and you shall attain it.
ॐ जय जगदीश हरे स्वामी सत्य साई हरे भक्त जना संरक्षक भक्त जना संरक्षक पति महेश्वर ॐ जय जगदीश हरे शशिवदना श्रीकरा सर्वा प्राणपते स्वामी सर्वा प्राणपते आश्रित कल्पलतिका आश्रित कल्पलतिका आपद्बान्धव ॐ जय जगदीश हरे माता-पिता गुरुदैवं मर्यन्तयु नीवे स्वामी मर्यन्तयु नीवे नाद ब्रह्म जगन्नाथा नाद ब्रह्म जगन्नाथा नागेन्द्राशना ॐ जय जगदीश हरे ओंकार रूप ओजस्वी साई महादेवा सद्गुरु साई महादेवा मंगलारति अंदुको मंगलारति अंदुको मंदर गिरिधारी ॐ जय जगदीश हरे नारायण नारायण ॐ सत्य नारायण 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 ॐ नारायण नारायण ॐ सत्य नारायण नारायण ॐ सत्य नारायण नारायण ॐ जय सद्गुरुदेवा नारायण नारायण ॐ सत्य नारायण भवन्तु समस्तलोका सुखिनो भवन्तु शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की जय जय बोलो